Everybody and their mate in Marvel Contest of Champions loves a bit of goop. Some people will get that reference, the last part, but for others, they won't. And that's what's great. So let's talk about the 7-star basic crystal situation. As per usual, what happens is I record an MCN about 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then I go to bed, kind of have it scheduled in. A lot of work goes into it before, getting it out, getting to bed, blah, 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 blah. And then about an hour later, Kabam decide that they're going to kind of announce stuff, and then everything that I recorded for the next day, when I've got a busy day for travel, for work, and stuff like that, then becomes very much out of context. I like things; things are nice. So we've got to go over a bit of an update to the situation for the base pool crystal compensation situation. There's multifaceted things going on, some advantages to some, disadvantages to others, and other things as well when it comes to stuff. One thing I did say is that I did not think the Kabam would get. What did I say? They wouldn't get this right. I don't know. Maybe I did. Maybe it didn't. Say something on the lines of, "It's a high chance Kabam will piss people off with this, and there's a high chance that they'll appease some other people." I guess that's going to be the difficulty, isn't it? I think that I didn't even have a good answer for this. I didn't. Like, a lot of the time I kind of like to go meh, 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 spout off a load of rubbish, whether you're interested in that or not. Well, you're here now, but I mean, I don't get it right with the takes, but there are times when I feel I do, but then maybe that's a bit arrogant. Anyway, so Kabam have said on the subject of what's going to happen with the compensation is the following. Obviously, due to the issue, blah, blah, blah. Rollover 21 champions were not included in 7-star baseball. Okay. After discussing, the team has settled on compensation for all affected users. And that is all summoners who open impacted crystals during the period of time before the fix was live will receive an additional 1-for-1 replacement of all crystals opened. Please note that since these crystals are being replaced, any duped champions, and this I think is the most crucial thing, any duped champions pulled from affected crystals during the window of this issue will not be counted towards future RER rewards. And if we go back to, it's the retrospective economy rewards situation. So there's kind of like there's stuff that kind of like, it's like domino effect, isn't it? Not domino in game, but domino effect. It's like one thing falls into another, falls into another, falls into another. With all of this, of course, like I think it's important to kind of figure out like what you feel about this, because as players, you play the game, and I do feel that this is very kind of like sort of mixed in kind of feedback towards this. Some are okay with this, but other people are not. So I want to find out, like, from you, the community, what's the issues. I didn't open up any. I've said more reasons why I didn't open up any 7-star basics, and I'm happy that I didn't, because I picked up some great champions, which I feel that if I was opening up now, yes, I'd have compensation, but I needed some of the champions for the battlegrounds, and I needed them ranked and in place, which they are. So, by the way, apologies to anybody I face off in battlegrounds. I'm lower down the pecking order at the moment, and that's going to mean problems for anybody I face in victory track. So my apologies first and foremost to anybody that I face off against in the next few days as I climb up to victory track to Vibranium. Anyway, what are you guys saying about this? So Polygon has a thread open about the problem with compensation. I have seen another thread as well, which we're going to bring into the discussion. For anyone who didn't open up or didn't open the entire stash, would be at a huge disadvantage compared to those that did. The base pool of 7 stars is more diluted with champions than public pools are with chlorine and urine. Great. Now that's put something in my mind. So getting a second chance of multiple crystals is basically like getting handed down a selector for champions someone's missing. Rather than excluding those who didn't open the crystals, why not just do a rollback to the previous time before the crystals went live and offer a global emphasis on universal compensation? Now here's the key takeaway. The current solution leaves out those who didn't open entirely, which leads to FOMO, fear of missing out, for those that don't know. But what about the next time something like this happens? because of the current situation, I can promise you that the next time something like this happens, players will deliberately take advantage by opening up all their crystals, which is the opposite of what the intention is waiting for. I don't. That's the thing. I question about the last kind of section of this take, but I definitely am. I'm understanding where Polygon is coming from in the first kind of elements of this one. So that's kind of like bringing a lot of like player discussion. This is just further put some people at an extreme advantage and others at huge disadvantage, further separating accounts. This is my biggest worry about going into MCOC in 2026. I have my concerns still about Ascension, and I've not seen anything yet with that to just kind of like calm my thoughts about how it is not say different, but it's different in a sense of acquiring tokens and the build of that system, which of course even more so if you've had access to a lizard during this period or been lucky to get a lizard. But that's more about acquiring a champion that's going to have the ascension based system within it and others that are not. If you didn't open any crystals, why would you be entitled to anything? I opened 50 after it was fixed. I shouldn't get anything. That's an interesting kind of like take right there, isn't it, of that particular matter? I'm all up for compensation, but this would be so unbalanced. The amount of extra resources, the Titan shards and Sig levels is ridiculous compared to the actual effect it had on players who opened the crystals early. Again, this is where I did say yesterday, or Wednesday, or whenever it was Tuesday. Kabam had a difficult task on their hands of how they dealt with this, and yeah, I just can't. I just could not put my finger on what was the right solution because there's even people today peed off. I mean, quite rightly so. So you're open to have your own opinion on this, regardless if you disagree with each other. Like you are open and allowed to it. You've saved up your time and effort's gone into it. If it's free to play, if it's spender, whatever, you both been putting in the effort. I get why they did it, but Kabam just gave a group of summoners double 7 stars for free. I'm not mad at them. I'm glad they got great compensation for a Kabam mistake. You have to understand it's hard to know that if you opened up all your crystals 5 to 10 minutes earlier, you could have had 2 for 1 haul. Seriously though, I'm happy Kabam helped those affected. I mean, that's a nice way of putting it. You know, there are some good people with good vibes in the community when it comes to this stuff. What else? Okay, so Polygon responds to someone else. Okay. For those who managed to open many crystals, free SIGs on old champions, a fresh try for new champions. For those who missed out, nothing. It's fair. You know, it's a fair thing. I just wonder whether or not, like, what people are saying, would it be quite, is amenable the right word? For Kabam to give out, I don't know, a pity volume of 7-star crystals to players. But then how did they make that fair? Because we're talking about somebody in this particular thread has said they spent 50. We went over a story, I think it was Tuesday as well, or Wednesday, whenever it was in the MCN, that someone had opened, again, similar thing. Wasn't it like 50? Was it more than that? So they're getting 50 more, or they're getting 50 back, or 50 for another attempt. But then, should someone that's opened up 10 get 50? This is tough, isn't it? Oh, this is a doozy. This is a toughie of how they deal with this. Yeah, so I think that's going to be really it. I don't think there's anything more that we can like add to this, any more extra coverage, except for it is very mixed in kind of response to this. Mixed, I think, for the people that are being either like unaffected, but are kind of chill with like what is going on. There's those, of course, like angry that they are missing out, but others are able to get double the amount. Those, of course, that are affected by opening up those crystals. And will they get like what they wanted from them, from opening up the RNG from the new crystals that they get, the kind of swap there? It's a doozy, and it's a dilly of a pickle. And I don't know if Kabam could actually get this right or wronged. I think we'll end with this. Like, this is an interesting take here. So this is from T Peters 85. I opened 31 7-star crystals before the bug was fixed, so I'm pleasantly surprised by the compensation for my own sake. But I agree that this does put people like me who happened to open crystals during the window at an unfair advantage. I recognize that there is pretty much no compensation that Kabam could have come up with that would have made everyone happy. 100%, 100%. Great take. But there was probably a better solution than this. One possibility would be to give each affected player a selector that includes all 21 new additions to the 7-star for every 10 crystals, but they opened during the window. Kabam could maybe even throw one of those selectors out to the rest of the player base, also to balance the player field a little bit. That's it. Do you know what? I think we're going to end there. There's been, of course, I've seen more really kind of like decent, constructive, community-led ideas with this one, or community-based kind of feedback, or kind of like just good vibes with it. So I just want to give props to anybody that's watching this that is featured in here, or has like had some decent discussion. Because honestly, it's lovely to see people chatting it, not like super angry, but kind of like just being like how they obsess the situation, how they kind of looked at it and go, like, oh yeah, this is the right, was this the right way to go? Did Kabam make the right decision? But doing it in a calm manner. It's the spirit of Christmas, I think, in some ways. Happy holidays, everybody. Anyway, that's going to be it for the video. A bit of an update on that situation. Have a lovely Thursday, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you all maybe later on, or maybe on Friday. We'll see what is up, because we've got a busy time on Friday with new update information and live stream. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon, and goodbye.